And welcome to Maths Easy Peasy. In today's class, we shall be exploring proportion. Proportion. And in our last class, we talked about ratio. We said ratio is simply expressing two quantities side by side. Now, in our class for today, we'll be looking at proportion, and it's actually related to ratio. What is a proportion? A proportion is an equation which says one ratio is equal to another. It is a number, a share, or a part of something in relation to a whole. That is a proportion. So what am I trying to say? Proportion is simply telling you about how one ratio is related to another. And we have two types of proportion. We have the direct proportion and the indirect proportion, or the inverse proportion, as it may be called. Now, when expressing ratios as proportion, in direct proportion, let's go to the next slide. Now, this direct proportion, it is when two quantities are related in such a way that if we increase one, the other will also increase. And if we decrease one, the other quantity will also what? Decrease. For instance, if it costs me $50 to buy 5 pens, how much will it cost me to buy 10 pens? In that case, you discover that the number of pens has increased. Therefore, the amount, the cost must also do what? Increase. When we have increase in one quantity resulting to an increase in the other, we call it direct proportion. We have our first example for today. If 54 oranges cost 36 naira, find the cost of 3 oranges. 54 oranges cost 36 naira. Find the cost of 3 oranges. We know that 54 oranges, 36. Now we discover that the quantity of orange has reduced. In that case, we are rest assured that the cost of this orange, 3 oranges, will also do what? Reduce from 36 naira. So let's check and know our rate of reduction. So in our question, 54 oranges cost 36 naira. Now we're asked to look for the cost of 3 oranges. In this case, 3 oranges we don't know. So we'll put a variable s. Now when writing equations like this, you write them out. 54 is equal to what? 36. Now 3 is equal to what? X. Now you must be very careful while writing out your equation. Why do I say so? Your oranges must be on the same side. Why the cost must be on the same side? Since we are looking for the cost of 3 oranges, because we don't know it, we replace it with a variable s. Now, after you've done that, you just simply cross multiply. In this case, we have 3 times 36, and 54 is directly proportionate to what? X. It's pointing to s. So what do? These two that are complete becomes our numerator. 3 times 36 all over 54. With this, we can solve easily. This gives us 3 times 36. 3 times 6 is 18. Put on 8, carry 1. 3 times 3, 9 plus 1, I carry 10. All over 54. It's easy to solve. So I can break it down. I know simply that there are 2 54s in what? 108. So when I do that, I have 2. So 3 oranges is actually 2 naira. So 3 oranges cost what? 2 naira. Maths is actually easy peasy, lemon squeezy, pizza cheesy, Mr. Austin's okra soup. Now, what I want us to really look at here is to understand the concept. What was I supposed to do? In our question, we are given 54 oranges costing us 36 naira. And we are also asked to look for the cost of 3 oranges. While writing it out, make sure you put the oranges on the same side and the cost on the other one side of the equal to sign. If you can arrange them like this as a direct proportion, you cross multiply. And after cross multiplying, you pick the 2 variables that are complete. This line is pointing to these 2 variables. The line there is pointing to 3 and 36. So that becomes your numerator. Over the variable that is pointing to S, that is your denominator. With that, you can simply look for your what? Your cost. So when I multiply that, I divide it by 54, which gives me 2 naira. You discover clearly that when this decreases, the cost also do what? Decreases. Now let's look at something very important today. How do I know if it is direct or inverse proportion? From this question, I simply know that 54 equal to what? 36. If this increase, I know the cost of 54 must be more than the cost of 3. So in that case, I know this must decrease. Whenever we have a situation like this, we call it direct proportion. Now let's take question number 2. Okay, let's take our second question for today. Our second question is that a car uses petrol at an average rate of 10 kilometers per liter. 10 kilometers per liter. How many liters of petrol will the car use for a journey of what? 70 kilometers? Now we'll look at this question. We discover that this is small and this has increased. So the quantity of petrol that must be used must also what? Increase in liters. So let's look at our question. 10 kilometers is equal to 1. Per year means 1. So 10 is equal to 1. While 70 is equal to what? X. Because that is the unknown. So in our equation, we'll simply state it thus. As I said, 10 kilometers is equal to 1 liter. Per means 1. While 70 kilometers is equal to X. Now we'll go ahead. When we cross multiply, we discover that the 70 and the 1 are connected. So that's what will be our numerator. So we have 70 times 1 all over 10, which simply gives us 70 over 10. So what we have left is 7. So the journey will take 7 liters of petrol. The journey will take 7 liters of petrol. Maths is easy peasy, lemon squeezy, pizza cheesy, Mr. Austin's okra soup. So that's our answer.